Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to share with you guys how I took this lovely hair from this to this beautiful amethyst purple balayage look. Alright, so this is my client's hair, aka my daughter. She wants to have purple hair, so I'm gonna do a balayage technique on her. I have no idea why this lighting looks weird. I apologize here, guys. Yeah, this is what her hair looks like. She has had a previous balayage. I don't even know how long ago it was. I think like last year, 2 years ago, and it just kind of grew out. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit, and later on we're gonna do something fun, some purple kind of tones in her hair, but we'll see how light this will get. This is obviously all her virgin hair, and these are just the previous lightened ends, so I'm going to be very careful when I lighten the ends over here. And she's going to get a little bit of a trim. You can see she has a bit of dry ends, fuzzy ends. Just also want to mention, for those of you guys who have been following me for a while, I always say in my video that I am not a professional, which still stands. I am not a professional yet, but I am now currently in hair school, so I'm learning a lot of new things that I did not know before. So yeah, just wanted to put that out. So I'm gonna go and section off her hair and get all my products ready and get started. Okay, so for the products that I'm gonna be using for her hair, or the lightener that I'm gonna be using, is going to be this Vario Blond lightener from Igora. And I'm just gonna use some 20 volume on one and then on 30 on the other. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working with the back of her hair first. So I'm going to be starting off with some 20 volume, and once I reach the top and the size of her hair, I'm going to switch it up to a 30 vol so that it processes the speed time all together. So that's what I'm gonna do with her ends as well. You're gonna see what I'm going to be doing with her ends. But for the back section, I'm just gonna mix some 30 volume with my lightener over here. So the measurements for lightener is a 1:2 ratio. It's best that you have a scale. And I'm just gonna start off with 30 grams of lightener first for her hair. And I'm just going to be using my wonderful Framar color bowl over here. And I also have a Framar brush. This one is a really good brush because it also has the tail comb at the end, so it'll help me with easier weaving when I need to use it, and sectioning and slicing. So 30 grams of the lightener. And then I'm going to do 60 grams of the developer. Using a lightener, it's a 1:2 ratio, so you're going to use like I said, 30 grams. If you're using 30 grams of the lightener, then you're going to double that. So I'm going to do 60 grams of the developer, and again I'm using 20 because I'm going to be starting off at the back. Right, and I'm going to mix that up, and then you'll meet me back with her hair as I section it up to get started. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and section off her hair now. So I'm just gonna start off with 4 quadrants first. So I'm just gonna take the section right above here where the apex is, and just bring it down to right above her ear, behind her ear. And then I'm just gonna clip that out of the way and work on this section closer to the end. So I'm just gonna take a clip and put that away. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. So where I section it here, where I parted it here, I'm just gonna connect that part right to the back of her ear here. And then for the back, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to split it down the middle first. And I'm probably just going to work with 2 sections as I get to her occipital bone right here. And once I finish this section, I'm going to split it into 3 sections of oiling. And I'll show you guys what I'm going to be doing once I get there, but for now we're gonna start off right here. So let me just finish sectioning her off and then we'll get started. Alright, so I'm just gonna start off with this small section right here. You want to start off with fairly thin sections so that when you apply the lightener, it will be very like saturated and it goes through the other side of the hair, because if you take really thick sections and you just apply the lightener on top, you're not going to get anything like in between here, like in between the hairs. So I like to start off with a thin section. So what I'm going to do first is I got this section here, but since I'm going to be using foil to do this foliage technique, I'm just going to take this and just, you can see that, I'm just going to take another smaller slice, kind of half of what I have here, so that when I apply the foil, it'll sit nicely snug underneath that section of hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the comb and just back comb it just a little bit so that it breaks apart the hair. So when I do apply the lightener, she's not going to have any harsh lines when it lightens up, if that makes sense. If you have hair that is hard to back comb or like it doesn't stay, you can always just do the back comb like this and then take a little clip and just place it there so that it holds the hair in place. Now what I'm going to do first before I apply the foil is I'm just going to hold the hair right at the bottom here, pinch it together, and I'm just going to brush the lightener on in a feathering motion. So I'll just feather a V shape like that, and then I'll feather another one on the other side, and then I'll take the rest of the lightener and just apply it to the rest of the strands. And just remember the fact that I did do the back combing, it's going to look a lot more softer when you brush everything out. You won't see the lines or anything. It will just have like a nice soft blend, and that's the kind of look that we want to achieve here, is a nice soft look without any harsh lines. When doing this, you want to feather upwards towards the base of her hair, and I'm just going to add a little bit into the middle here, feather it up a little bit just like that. And once I have the lightener on, I'll saturate it a little bit underneath, and then that's when I'll take my foil nicely place that on there. Then I can continue with applying it to the rest of the hair. I'm just going to make sure not to really apply too much lightener at the ends because her ends are light, and what I will do is I will apply lightener. I'm sorry, you guys can't even see that. I will be applying the lightener at the end. I'm going to let this process from the mids to almost halfway to the ends, and then once it starts lightening up, I'm going to go ahead with the same developer or same lightening formula that I have and apply that to the end so that it lightens all evenly. And then I'm just going to take another foil and sandwich that together to process. And then I'm just going to do that, the same technique, until I reach about here, the occipital bone, and then I'll work on to the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when I finish these two sections about right here, then I'll show you what I'm going to do when I get up here. Okay, so now that I reached the occipital bone, I said I was going to change it into 3 sections, like 3 workable sections, but I feel that the sectioning that I have right here is still going to be wide enough for my foils. I usually was going to do 3 sections so that it would fit the foils, but I guess it depends on the foils you have, and it depends on the head shape of your client. But this will be wide enough for me to work all the way up and still keep the same 2 sections. So basically, I'm just gonna go and continue what I've been doing. but I'm gonna change a little bit of the technique that I'm doing. As I reach up here, I am going to do a little bit of baby lights so that it blends more nicely and more seamlessly. But as I get to maybe about here, these two sections, I'm gonna start doing the baby lights. But what I added now for my formulas is I'm still gonna be doing the 20 until I get about here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of conditioner. I got this method from Jamie Dana. Using conditioner with your lightening and balayage technique is just gonna help it give a nice smoother blend. So this is going to be my blending agent with my lightener. I'm just gonna, with the 20 volume, like I said, I still have a bit of it in my bowl here. So I'm just gonna finish it up until I reach about here. And then as I move up here and to the sides, I'm gonna switch it up to 30 volume. Before I do the 30 volume, I'm gonna go back with the foils that I previously have down here. And like I said, I didn't lighten any of the ends. As you can see, I left the ends out. So once I finish the 20 volume in these two sections, I'm gonna go ahead and start brushing the ends of this. And then I'm gonna move to 30 volume for the top sections and the front sections here. So let me just show you what I'm gonna do with the conditioner as my blending agent. So I'm gonna continue taking the same slices over here, just very thin sections. Just gonna tease it as I did from the beginning. Tease a little bit of that up there, and her hair is nice. It holds the tease, but again, if you do have hair that you're working with that, you know, when you tease it, it's just gonna slide back down. Put the clip in there. I could put the clip. Actually, I'm gonna do the clip right now, just in case. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my foil, place it underneath here, and then I'm going to take that conditioner, any white conditioner will do, and I'm just gonna paint it right at the top here. And that will also help stabilize the foil and it won't go anywhere, so it's kind of like a glue as well. So I'm just gonna put it right about there. So as I get higher to the hair, I wanted to have more of a natural kind of blended look, so the conditioner does help a lot. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do the same technique. Basically, I'm just gonna start right here with the lightener, and then just feather upwards, blending it to the conditioner. It's also good to angle your brush flat against your surface here so that you have more control when it comes to feathering your product. Yeah, I'm just gonna go towards the end and still continue to leave the ends out. So that is basically what I'm gonna do until I reach the top. So the technique is still gonna stay the same. And once I do the whole baby lights technique, I'll show you I'll show you before I get started. But I'm gonna do the same conditioner, teasing, and blending. And yes, I'll go back to when I'm gonna start the baby lights. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going through the foils that I started off with at the bottom, and I'm just going to apply the lightener on it. So as you can see, it has been processing. I already did the ends of these ones here. I don't know if you guys can see that. But as I bring this one down, I'll show you. You can always use a clip to hold everything up in place if you don't have an extra hand. So as I lift this up, you can see that it has been processing over here, and it's about the same level almost as the end. So now I can go apply the lightener to the end so that it can all process at the same time, because you want to get it a little bit lighter. And I'm basically just going to continue this step as I make it to the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and start doing some baby lights with the 30 volume developer as well as on the sides here. Alright, so now that I've reached kind of like the top section over here, this is when I'm going to start doing my baby lights. So I'm just going to take the same kind of sections that I normally do, just thin sections like this. When you do take the sections, you want to make sure that they are see-through. You want to be able to see through it. I don't know if you guys can see that. So kind of like that. So what I do, I can probably even take just a thinner section section. Like this, and take that out of the way. And with the whole section, I'm gonna go ahead and tease it as well. So I'm just gonna quickly give it a tease. And then for the baby lights, I'm just gonna do very fine weaves. So with my tail comb, I'm just gonna go up and down. Quickly, give it some nice fine baby lights. Grab the foil, place that right in between, and I'm just going to paint that section. Basically doing the exact same thing, except I just did a few baby lights so that when the hair is all nice and processed and the hair is down and styled, you'll see little pieces of highlights giving that, you know, kind of sun-kissed illusion. With hair like this, you want it to have a nice blend. And there I go again with the word blend, but that's basically what I'm trying to say here is everything has to have a nice, smooth blend. And as I get higher towards the top of the foil, I just want to feather that in. I don't want to do it straight down like that because you'll see that harsh line. So I just kind of like to feather it into it. Work that in there. And then take a foil and place it down. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing until I reach here. And once I reach here, I'll be right back with you guys. I finished the back and now we're at the front, but before I move on to the sides, I'm just gonna give her a money piece that would kind of lie around her face. So I'm just gonna section it to how her hairline falls. I'm gonna take about this much. I'll just take this section right here. Because she parts her hair in the middle all the time. She doesn't really have a different part besides in the middle, so this will be perfect. I'm just going to take a section like this from one side and I'm going to just take the same amount from the other side here. Maybe just a little bit more. I'm just going to do this section here so that when it falls, it'll fit her face nicely. So I'm just going to start from the top here and then flip the foils backwards. I'm just going to clean up the section just a little bit here. All right, so I'm just going to start off with a small slice, like so. And I'm going to maybe like that. I'm just going to take a regular foil here, fold that, and then place that right underneath. So I'm not going to really go all the way to the roots. I'm just going to use a little bit of the conditioner to blend it right to the roots here. And then I'm going to just have the lightener start just a little bit underneath where I placed that conditioner. So using my fingers, holding it right underneath the foil so that it doesn't slip and slide anywhere. And I'm going to bring that lightener all the way down. Since this is all her natural hair, there's no lightened pieces in this section, so it's safe for me to put it up all in the foil. The foil tends to fall a little bit from that section that we place it on. I usually hold it right at the corners of the foil, and then with my brush, I kind of pull the hair back down into place. Like so. I'm just gonna go in and fold the foil all the way up. Don't mind the haircut of the face, I'm going to fix that. And like this. And like this. And I'm going to flip that up. And I'm going to continue on to the whole front hairline section. Alright, so now that I finished the money piece over here, I'm just going to work with the two sides of the hair. And I'm basically just going to do the same technique. I'm just going to take horizontal partings, tease it up, and then just paint until I reach all the way up here.
Miss, her tongue is so long. It like wrapped around her head.
Her tongue was wrapped around her head?
It could.
All right, so I finally finished foiling her head. I believe this took me 2 hours. So now I'm just gonna wait for everything to process. It's processing pretty good now. Let's take a look here. So this is how light she is at right now. It looks about level 8, level 8. We'll leave that on for just a little bit. It doesn't have to be super blonde because she doesn't want her purple to be too vibrant. I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning of this video that we're doing her hair purple, but anyways, we're just gonna let this process and then I'll come back with her hair all washed out and dried. All right guys, so I washed and I dried her hair and this is what it looks like. Obviously I'm not gonna leave it like that. I'm going to now apply the purple hair color that I bought. I might go ahead and bring the roots down a little bit. I'm gonna just use some Transylvania from Arctic Fox. And then I'm gonna go in with some Joico products and I'm just gonna show you guys what I'm gonna be using. For her hair, I'm gonna be using this Amethyst shade from Joico Color Intensity, from the Joico Color Intensity line, sorry. And for her roots, I'm just gonna probably use this just to bring it down a little bit and have everything blended. So I guess I'm just gonna have to play around to see how this works, so let's get started. All right, so I have her hair sectioned out. So I'm just gonna apply my Transylvania shade just a little bit on the roots just to give it a smudge before I apply the purple color on. So I just have a little bit here. Obviously I might need a little bit more, but I just squirted that much into the bowl. I'm just gonna use my Framear brush just to apply to the roots. And then when I apply the purple on, I'm just gonna use my fingers just to blend everything all together, just to give it that smudge effect. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, it's gonna turn out nice. Alright, so I just finished applying the dark shade onto her roots. It looks a little bit better, looks a little bit more blended that way. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and start applying the Amethyst shade, and I'm just gonna start with by working in the quadrants. I'm gonna start off on this one section, and then I'm gonna move on to this, and then work the 2 back sections last, and then just let that sit and process for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, just so that the hair will be saturated in the purple and hopefully she will be ready to go. Alright guys, so this is how her hair turned out after blow drying and just kind of smoothing it out. I'm gonna go ahead and give it some nice waves too, just so we can see the overall look. But I don't know, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, she didn't want it to be bright purple. I don't know, this lighting is not really giving too much justice on the color, but you know, it's just kind of the shade I am assuming that she likes. Do you like the color? It's not bright purple. She says it looks pink, but it's the lighting. But once we're out in like natural light or something, you'll see the difference. I'm gonna go and curl it and put her under different light so we can see how everything else looks. And yeah, you guys know the drill. I'll be right back. And this is the finished results. It's like a plum purple, but you know, with everything all blended together, it looks super nice. You can see that there are some different shades up here because of the level of lightness that these hairs picked up, but I say all together it looks pretty good.